Mm. Test, test, test. Can you hear? Can you hear? 1, 2. 1, 2. Test, test. Not doing anything till we confirm. There we go. They missed my Apex Predator song.
This is what we get for not.
See? Summer's like, there's no way the audio won't work. We're fine. And I was like, you're the boss, Applesauce. Let's roll. And then I did an Apex Predator song. And it was dope. It was probably one of the best songs ever on Atomic Master. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Atomic Master Transmissions Live. Today we're painting up Sabretooth Apex Predator. This is what happens when you're live. You don't know what's going to happen. We're painting up Sabretooth Apex Predator. Super excited about this one. I love the Rivals panels and kind of what they mean as an artistic expression and outlet. And I'm super excited to get started on mine. I started the bunker a while back during Main Extravaganza. I haven't finished it yet. I've had a lot of other projects in the works. So today I get to paint Sabretooth. So let's get it over to the mini cam. Let's get it going. Let's fire it up. Bam, 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 bam. Apex Predator coming at you live. Paint the Apex Predator. It's Sabretooth, Apex Predator. Come and get you live, Apex Predator. Sabretooth. Yeah. That's the new song. It's not as good as that first one that they missed. Which is sad, but you know, it happens. This is the nature of live video. Sometimes you catch it, sometimes you don't. Were you there? Were you not there? I want to accidentally spoil stuff. Oh, I don't. I'm a non-spoiler guy. I like to bake that cake. There's a lot of people putting hard work into when things get revealed, and there's a whole team, and they do mathematical surveys, and they do science. And science is super important, so I don't want to take away that science by spoiling something. I'm just doing some nonsense flesh tones. I got green, and Summer can show my palette. Just a selection of colors. And I'm just going to start mashing colors onto the miniature. Not really thinking about it. That's my goal. Is just to kind of paint it, just free form, just kind of let things happen as we paint. What do you have the mini on for painting? Pickle ask. So I got when I'm painting live, I have this thing where I meander. The miniature just kind of takes a little journey all over the place. And one Mr. Tony Konachek gets really upset with me when I do that. And now Summer doesn't have to deal with it. Summer, Tony and I worked on this situation. Now Summer gets the benefit from that. So I meander a lot. My miniature goes all over the place because I like to take the miniature on little journeys. And when I'm painting, flip it upside down, and I change my positions. And anyways, I'm just kind of rambling. Point is, it's on a gimbal made from an old microphone stand, and obviously the oldest brush in the world. Let's get rid of that one. Let's try a new brush. So it's just on an old mic stand, and it's blue tack. So I always double-sided tape my miniature to a handle. For handles, I use pieces of cut dowel rod, or sometimes I use, such in this case, a spray cap from some clear coat. And then I just blue tack it onto that gimbal, and that keeps it on frame. So I don't have to look at the chat and everybody's yelling, put it back on screen. Blob, Pyro, Logan, Sabretooth all look great, fun to play. Yeah, that's the goal. Make them fun to play. I was just sending some memes earlier today about winning the game versus having fun in the game. How winning the game is, or having fun in the game is way more important than winning the game. And I think all these characters bring a lot of interesting, fun, new philosophies to the tabletop. Plus we get Weapon X affiliation. Oh man. Killer. When I lose, I'm having fun too because I'm telling a cool story and hanging out with people that I like. I can't let my fun be hinged on just winning. Because then I'm going to not have fun, like, 50% of the time? That seems like a bad metric for fun. That's why I never compare anything to the best. That's the best chocolate chip cookie I ever had. Well, too bad for that next chocolate chip cookie, I guess, huh? Don't even want to give it to you if you're just going to compare it to the old one I can't compete with. Catmore, I agree. Some of my best stories are absolutely from losing the game. Some of the most exciting moments come from those times when you're on that back foot and you have that one last shot at winning. And you're like, I'm just going to roll these dice. It's going to be the perfect dice roll. And, oh, no, too late. That did not work at all. Smart Drive, I like that. Played with somebody, not against. I like that. Oh, man. Summer's in there eating lunch. And my lunch is upstairs getting cold. Yeah, I can hear that. I can also smell it. Killing me. Killing me. He does have a majestic jacket. I get teased sometimes because all my concepts have the most ridiculous capes and jackets. I can't help it. I'm like, and then I draw a line like this, and that's the cape, and everybody goes, Doc, you can't have a cape that big. I'm like, I know. We'll fix it in sculpt. But what if I could have a cape that big? What if I could have a big whooshy cape? I'm just going to keep highlighting this sweet. Look at his grumpy face. That little pinch right there where the nose crease meets, you want to pop that with just the pinchiest little highlight. Just a zesty little highlight. Look at that grumpy face. The X-Force leadership? X-Force is Cable. That's on Cable's card. Little puppy heartless, making everything come together. Oh my God, I absolutely love Weapon X. Can we talk about Weapon X? I don't have any information about Weapon X I'm allowed to share it, but I can just talk about my love of Weapon X. Like from a comic book standpoint. Like when they explored in the Wolverine solo series, and you have Maverick and Mastodon and Sabretooth and Wolverine, and they draw Wolverine so short. I mean, he is short, but especially in that like group, it was just like, you're so wee, boy. We're just gonna put some brown on this coat. Looks like a little dust got on there. I built this guy like months ago, so he's probably a little dusty. That's okay. I'm just going to try to get it off. If there's a little dust in there, it won't hurt. I won't be sad. It just happens. So we kind of knew going in like what the goal was. Like the Rivals panel wouldn't have made sense with the Weapon X helmet. The idea is more of, the idea of the Rivals panels is to just kind of tell like our version of a story, right? Like kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocols. Like we're just kind of telling our version of the story. It's not meant to be a direct translation necessarily. We're interpreting the characters to fit into our sort of world here. So with the Weapon X, it was definitely like we knew what the story was, right? It was just like, okay, Wolverine, Sabretooth, and it's they've caught up with each other at this Weapon X bunker, and so like the little signs. The little signs are like kind of there in the storytelling parts of it. There's like, Wolverine's rode up on his motorcycle. He's gotten off the motorcycle. And if you look at the way the wind is blowing, the wind is like Sabretooth is downwind. So go back and look at that picture of the Wolverine and Sabretooth Rivals panel. So Sabretooth is downwind, right? He's the apex predator. He's there to ambush poor little Logan on his birthday, right? Because that's what he does, because he's a jerk. Logan's just got off his bike, and he's standing there at that Weapon X bunker, and he knows something is afoot because, even though Sabretooth is downwind, it's still Wolverine, right? It's still Wolverine. And so he knows something is afoot, so he's got his claws out and he's ready for action. So it wouldn't have made sense to do the full helmet version because it wouldn't have told the story like this. And that's the point of the Rivals panel, is to kind of give you a little bit of story and lets us explore. Like wait till you see Team Tactic cards. The Team Tactic cards definitely lean into the story, and you're going to see that going forward with Rivals packs. Is we're going to lean into those stories more. You know, we learn a lot of lessons as we develop stuff and we do stuff. And, you know, the Spidey and Doc Ock definitely taught us a lot of lessons. And then we try to incorporate it in this one, the next one, and so on and so forth. He's ambushed every year on the same day. He knows something is wrong. Slow learning is still learning. Like, you know, well, I don't believe there's a such thing as slow learning. I don't think we're slowly learning anything. I think we're very quickly learning stuff. So, like, and if you look at the bunker, there are the claw marks on the bunker from Wolverine busting out of that bunker years ago. You know, when he, you know, that super epic Barry Windsor Smith run on Marvel Comics Presents, where it goes into the Weapon X, and all that, like that, all that story is there, and that's really what we wanted to capture, is sort of that moment right before these two clash. You know, I also talked a lot about the Wolverine issue number 10 has some of the inspiration here. That's like the first non-costumed fight between Wolverine and Sabretooth is that issue. So that was a big inspiration as well into telling this story and bringing it into the world of Marvel Crisis Protocol, and something that we really want to lean into and develop as we go. So it's all there and laid out, and you can see the parts. You know, I would love to do the helmet version of Weapon X, and you know, Schick has said many times, and all of us have said many times, like, you know, on a long enough timeline, there's no character we don't want to do. You know, we can only do so much, and we're working on it, and you know, we got tons of ideas. There ain't no think we ain't thunk. You could probably be like, what about this weird, obscure character? And I'd be like, we probably talked about it once. The only update for the website is just be on the lookout. Things are being worked on. It's not an easy process when you're working with what we work with. So any experience you have, you know, multiply that by a bagillion. But definitely Summer, BK, Jesse have all been diligently at work trying to bring you an updated and wonderful, beautiful website that hopefully makes all your dreams come true. Because that's really all I care about, is making your dreams come true. I know the bunker is presented as snowy, but based on the molds, would it translate easily to mud dirt? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't paint this how you want. There's no reason why you couldn't even make these city streets. You know, the set comes with an extra set of bases. You could totally make these city streets easy peasy. A little hobby goes a long way, and every base is a blank base to a hobbyist. Like you don't need a blank base to make this base whatever you want it to be. Just cover it with putty or whatever material of your choice. I'm gonna really start darkening this up. Yeah, we're keeping you updated. We try to keep you updated every stream. We talk about it. There's not really much to update. No news is just it's just no news. There's the updates. That's not much of an update, but that's the update. I believe we all have the capacity for patience. So patience, and it'll all be rewarded. We'll have a fancy new website. And then all your dreams will come true. Let's just start darkening this coat. I'm just kind of building colors on this jacket. Love a good leather jacket. I'm going to go darker than the studio model. Cream some color up in those armpits. Let that blend be real kind of funky going up and over to kind of help create that texture. Look really nice. All the cool things, so many cool things. More cool things than you can ever imagine. The coolness abounds. Summer's seen cool stuff. Summer knows. These are the parts of miniatures I can get just lost in. It's just some fun, nonsensy, textured, like poorly blended coats. Just, man, oh man, you can just really bring something to life. It's not for a competition. It's not for the studio. It's for me. Someone get a little funky and zazzy. Surfer Sabretooth is best Sabretooth. Surfer. Original X-Men movie vibe. Yeah, a little bit of that Tyler Mane look going on. It's the costume is from Ultimates. More inspired by that. That cult might be over 60 years at this point. That's true. That's true. Let's mix a little white and a little bit of our browns together. Let's do some little hash marks. Sort of reclaim. And no shadows. Just kind of zigzaggy, all over the kind of place here. I played Spider Foes versus Web Warriors the other day. Or I played the Web Warriors versus Spider Foes the other day. And my Spider-Man was the hero of the day on that fight. It was so great. Such a good battle. More dash box. Sorry, I can't talk about wishes. So I'm just going to ignore chat for a minute. Someone let me know when they're back on something I can answer. We can talk about all kinds of stuff, but can't talk about wishes. Yeah, my undivided attention for an hour. Little tiny dots. Little tiny dots. Lots of little smudges, nicks, dings, scratches, scritches. Just to build that texture, visual interest, create old leather. What about Make-A-Wish Dallas? Oh, Make-A-Wish Dallas. What's one detail you loved adding to the Rivals fan? Definitely the Wolverine marks. There's a set of Wolverine claws, two sets of the Wolverine claw marks across the door and one of the outer pylons. It's just like, it's obvious, it's expected, but I think that's what really sells to me. That's what sells that whole scene is also just the Sabretooth being downwind of Wolverine. I think was just a great little subtle thing that you might not notice when you first look at it. Is just the way Sabretooth is perched on top of that bunker. His coat is blowing directly away from Wolverine. So just having all that little detail and stories, adding the motorcycle, I think was great. That one kind of came in last minute, like, oh, motorcycle, yeah. So I think there's lots of little things there that just bring the story home and really bring these characters that we know and love to life in a very cool and dramatic narrative way. And that's super important. Boy, I can't remember. Can't remember what size the motorcycle is. I think it's one. Can we slide up a little bit? The chat. There was a question there I caught and then it got bumped.
About
No, just scroll up just a little bit there, please. Oh, it's pretty cool. It's active as the bunker base. It's still active for a moment. I don't. No, I don't. I don't think I understand the active bunker question. Happy to talk about the bunker. I don't think I understand the question. Looks like Atomic Mass is explaining why we don't spoil stuff. There's a whole team of people whose job is to like plan that stuff out. It's very important. It's all part of the process. I'm gonna make these pants green. Currently, I'm using a pile of scale 75 for live streams. The studio miniatures are typically painted by freelancers, so they use whatever they use. So we have a lot of wonderful freelancers painting our miniatures, and they do wonderful work for us. Just absolutely joy to work with. What color to pick up for the upcoming foes? Gray, green, or orange? I mean, you can use any of those colors for a wide variety of characters. I mean, so it's always good to have gray, green, and orange in your pocket. I mean, heck, I think I even used orange on my Venom. So, my answer to that question is probably not going to do you any good. Oh, we love oil paints here. We love oil paints. Chick has done a little bit on oil paints. I thought about doing a little oil paint tutorial, maybe on some vehicles or something. There's no wrong paint. There's just paint that some people use and some people don't use, and whatever makes it work. Whatever you're comfortable with, usually. I'm pretty sure Banshee could paint a miniature with ketchup and still win all the awards. So watercolory. Yeah, James is great. Big fan of James's work. There's no wrong approach to painting and art. Do some more texture on these green pants. Gotta show off those muscly legs. When I get Sabretooth, all I'm going to do is jacket burgundy like Star-Lord's. I love it. I love it. Make it whatever color you want. It's the fun of painting miniatures. It's all about taking ownership and making the thing your own. Because you're just doing some little arts. Just doing some little art for yourself and for your opponent to tell a cool story on the battlefield. When I get to the table, I want whoever I'm playing to be like excited, and I want to respect my opponent. Make sure all my stuff's painted. This is just my rules. They don't have to be your rules. Your rules can be whatever you want them to be. They're just the way I think about it. I want my opponent to be like, "Oh man, you painted all your miniatures. They look great. Let's tell a cool story." And I'll be like, "Dope. Good luck. I hope you win." And then I'm going to try to win. But I really just want to tell a cool story with my cool little miniatures. Nothing better than letting somebody go home, two people going home feeling happy that the night went well and you played a good tight game and everybody got to see some cool miniatures on the table, and just what a great feeling. It's kind of a unique thing about miniatures, right? It's like there's not very many hobbies that act the way this does, and you know, that time you spent benefits everybody around you. It's such an interesting dynamic that miniature games, hobby miniature games in particular, provide. Blue and black mixed together, wash for the boots. This is water and paint. A little brown in there warms it up, makes them look a little more old and worn. I do love these big chunky engineer boots he's wearing. Oh, the Worthy. What are we talking about, the Worthy? I missed it. I was painting boots.
Our friends are excited.
The Burby. The Worthy's going to be great. Everybody's going to show up at Adepticon and put some awesome miniatures in the cases. We're going to show them off. We're going to provide feedback and critiques for those who want it, which is super vital in wanting to improve or just, and you can improve miniature, but you know, when I say improve, that doesn't mean you have to like try to become the #1 miniature painter in the world. It's just a tool to help you become the miniature painter you want to be, and that's the real goal of the Worthy, is to help celebrate the art of miniature painting, which is super important. You know, you spend, hours painting miniatures, and there's so much art and imagination that goes into that process. we really, really want to celebrate that. So, but there's also we want to help people achieve the goals they set out for themselves. So if you're just like, I just want to become a better tabletop painter, you should enter the worthy. You know, it's nice to be like, well, I'd really love to win that Odin trophy, but I'm not gonna. That's okay. That's okay. The point is to get in there and see where your skills are currently, and then ask the question of the judges, this is where I want my skills to go. What do I need to do to get there? And then take that feedback and push yourself to get to that point you're looking to achieve. That's what the worthy is designed and created to do. So I look forward to seeing a bunch of people there. Yeah, it's such an amazing convention. Such an amazing group of painters from all over the world hanging out, sharing they do classes on miniature painting. A lot of times you can even just find professional miniature painters sitting around, and you can just ask them questions and be like, they might just be painting. You'll find me painting, and you can just come up and be like, how do I do this? I'll tell you. I'll show you. There's a Marvel Crisis Protocol painting competition in LA called the Path of the Worthy, and that is at Adepticon, and it is for Marvel Crisis Protocol. Look at his little grumpy face. So let's paint some eyes in there. I'm gonna go dark first. You can come by and say hi. And even if you think you're terrible, you can and you don't want to enter. Entering the worthy does get you a patch called heroic, because it takes a little heroism to step up and be able to put yourself out there. If you're not comfortable with it, that's totally okay too. I totally understand that and respect that. But if you just want some feedback, it's a great place to just get feedback and be like, this is where I'm at in my painting path, and this is where I want to go. What do I need to do? And you can just ask those questions without entering. There's no pressure to enter. It's a opportunity. It's an opportunity, not an obligation. And the big thing we want to do is, we have all chosen to participate in this hobby miniature game. And fundamentally, it's a hobby miniatures game, and we're going to treat it as such and celebrate it as such. So we want to celebrate what that means. What sets a hobby miniatures game apart from other games, and we want to celebrate that. But we also want to provide space for people to learn, grow, and become the painter they want to be. And I think that that's super important. Frankly, I wouldn't be where I am right this second without that opportunity. I went to a convention once and asked a professional miniature painter what they thought of my painting, and they were pretty harsh. And I loved it. I loved having a good harsh criticism. Oh boy, I do. But I took it serious, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take that lesson, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to apply those lessons that you're trying to tell me. And I went home and I tried some stuff, and I failed a lot. And I said, okay, well, that didn't work. I'm going to try again. And I tried again. And I pushed myself, and I learned techniques. And then I went back to that same judge, and I said, okay, now what do you think? We think now, right? And they gave me the criticisms again. They were like, well, great. You learned some lessons, but not all of them. And I was like, oh, no. So I did it again. I went back, went home, practiced, got my hyperbolic time chamber. Summer knows what I'm talking about. I just kept pushing and asking questions. How do I get better? I had a very specific goal in mind. I had a very specific goal in mind, so I need some yellow. I don't want that yellow. This yellow? Peanut butter. Yeah, come get some pointers. I love giving pointers. I love it. It's not about winning. That's what we're talking about. It's not about winning. If you got grilled the rest of it, are you talking to me, Ellie? I'm willing to let's talk about that. Let's explain that. I don't know if that's directed at me. I'm just making sure. I'm just going to paint until I confirm. Let's add some dark umber. Based on what you have learned over the years, if you had infinite time, money, what current MCP mini would you redesign and sculpt, and how, why? Probably none. I think we learn a lot of lessons, and we like to apply those to the next miniature or the next character, or maybe the next iteration. I think Doctor Strange is such a great example of an idea we had, and we made it work, and then we wanted to do another version, and all those lessons you learned from the first version, and even other miniatures like Storm and no, man, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to not say a name or something. Is you take it and you apply it to that next project. I'm very much a apply it to the next project person. So, it's Marvel. You're going to see the same characters from time to time because we want to explore the different iterations, and some characters just have a lot of iterations, and they're very interesting to us and provide some interesting opportunities when we're developing the product. So that's when I look at the ideas and philosophies and how do we take them to the next level. Don't forget the sideburns when you're painting your Sabretooth. Rawr. Well, okay, Ellie, but it that was years ago is when I got that criticism, and I think that that's super important to understand. Is I wasn't good. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was going about a whole bunch of things the wrong way, and I had zero philosophy. And I think that that's super important to remember. And I had a very distinct goal in mind. I wanted to be a paid professional, studio painter. I wanted to make a full-time living painting miniatures. And, I had to ask the question and I had to understand, like, to do that job, I was not ready. And none of us are. My first miniatures, I've been painting miniatures for a long time, kids. Fun fact, I'm old. I've been painting miniatures for a long, long time. So my first miniatures are old, like 1990. There's probably people in the chat that aren't even that old. So I've been doing this a long, long time. And we all start somewhere, right? This is the path of the worthy. We're all on different points of the same path. And, you have to ask the questions and you have to be ready to understand and listen to those who you respect. And also never take criticism or never take advice from somebody you want to take criticism from. Never take criticism from somebody you want to take advice from. So look around and make sure you're asking the right people for the critiques. That's purely subjective and what's going to get you where you want to be. But you have to ask the questions and you have to be willing. If your goal is to be professional, you're going to take some hits to the ego. If your goal is to be a tabletop painter, that's a much easier goal. And we want to help you achieve that goal. Look at those little blonde pops. Look at that blonde mane of hair. I forgot one hand. Do you have an example of a take that lesson to next project? I was just really intrigued by the main design processes. I know a lot goes into designing things like outfits, pose, environment. Yeah, like I was saying, I think the Doctor Strange. I think looking at what we did from Storm to Scarlet Witch, Storm Enchantress Scarlet Witch, I think is a great example of us learning about the material and what can and can't be done, and really pushing it, just philosophically and just what we can get away with in miniatures. And there's so much, we have a distinct pleasure of being able to work in hard plastic, which is a very liberating material. It has its limitations. If you want to really understand miniature design, you really, and especially for like what we do, understanding hard plastic is like the very first step in that. This is a very unforgiving material when it comes to certain things, and a very forgiving material when it comes to others. It's forgiving it's light, it's strong, and I can do very interesting stuff with like the effects, like Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch has these beautiful effects, lifts her in the air, holds her aloft, and creates that illusion of floating. And we got one in the pipe, just came through the other day that takes that idea and takes it even further, that illusion of floating even further. And it's all just lessons. Now, where it's not forgiving is things like draft angles, undercuts, and these are all very technical things. This is where, very classic miniatures. Like let's take this miniature right here. Let's take this miniature right here. I can make this miniature in one piece. Absolutely. You won't like it though. So let's say we focus, actually, man, you can't actually make this miniature in one piece. Let's say you could. So let's pick this face here, right? And this is where the mold's going to come into at. This is steel, right? And it's a steel block with this as a relief. And then on the back side, it's a steel block with this as a relief. There cannot be any undercuts. So things like Star-Lord's head, there's a whole section of design on Star-Lord's head right here that the mold's coming in from the front. Well, it can't create those undercuts on the side of the head. So that's why the side of the head is cut out. And those are part of the IP. Those are part of the design of the character. Whereas like something like this Sabretooth, we lop this hair off, and that comes from the top, and this comes from back, and then you just got like a little funky top knot. But anything that's an undercut, this would all be an undercut. This would all be an undercut. You can't have this. The mold can't be in there. So that would be, that's why the pieces get cut the way they do. It's a very interesting process. We have a whole team of people that takes months of training to learn to use the tools and develop the skills to actually cut the miniatures. And they're always pushing and trying to learn and cut things different. All for the goal, the better end user experience, which is super important. I'm Zorgnak. I really love that you find ways to convey flight and hovering without the use of clear. Yeah, I think clear plastic rods have a place for certain things. I as a philosophy at Atomic Mass, we will avoid it as much as possible. Like it sort of breaks a lot of the immersion. And there's also a lot of times it kind of goes into a unfortunate place. And with hard plastic, with resin or metal, that, a lot of these designs could not be done. So with hard plastic, we get that opportunity to kind of explore and develop ways to lift the characters. And so it's a philosophy that I think is super important. Also, they're Marvel characters. I want to show powers. I want to show their abilities. Like, why would you not? And I think that this is, once again, the plastic provides that opportunity for us to explore these interesting ways to translate powers into a physical manifestation, and get the miniatures on a table in a more dynamic fashion. I don't want to see my Marvel characters standing there starfishing. If any of you old miniature people know the starfish pose. It's a very classic old miniature pose. And that was done because of metal. Metal has very strict limitations, and the starfish pose was sort of part of that. Things learned like anger Trigger points my lecture. I'm surprised your lecture's wrist broke. I definitely recommend using plastic glue, as that welds the plastic kit together and makes it one solid piece. It should not break. I put these things through pretty vicious testing when I first get those first test shots in. The storm wobbles, and that's fine. The wobbling, bridges wobble for a reason. Maybe we wouldn't have it wobble next time. That's a lesson in tolerances, and you don't know until you try. But it's not fragile. She just wobbles. A wobble never hurt nobody. Sometimes I wobble. Texture of that sweet collar. The tactical rocks are, they help do a lot of things. Like, there's no random rocks in Marvel Crisis Protocol. Those rocks aren't random. There's a crisis going on, in case you haven't forgotten. There's demons downtown. And there is just a giant super tussle going on all over the city. And characters are going to have varying degrees of tactical rocks, if that's what we want to call them, to sort of interpret some of that. Some's going to have more, some's going to have less. If everything has the same amount, it's going to look odd. It's going to become boring. Some's going to have more, some's going to have less. That creates that variety. That creates that bell curve, like we like to talk about in development and design. Miniatures, you want some to have super high action, some to have low action. That creates a bell curve of action. Creates more visual interest across the line. And I think that those are very important philosophies. So tactical rock is there to, basically keep damage control, busy. There's lots of little ways to even flush it out. Like you could even see here, I put a little extra debris. If you look at some of my more recent stuff, what was the last Marvel I did? What was the last Marvel I did? Blob and Pyro. Yeah, I added a little extra basing material around the already established tactical rock to blend it and smooth it out, and to create more variety, and that helps with that storytelling aspect that like I said, is important. These are very important things. I'm doing a little gray into this fur around the collar. This gray is going to add some, it's got a little touch of blue in that gray, so it's going to add some coldness to it. It also darkens it up without going brown. We got so much brown on him already, we need something a little different. Why do you have to sculpt a new foot? magic is going around his foot, like sort of making him integrated into the effect. Like tells a little bit more story that way. How's that gray look? Looks so good. Oh my gosh, what time is it? Did I go over? 7 minutes. What do you think? Not bad. Yeah, it's part of the flame wave. That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be part of the flame wave. Not bad for an hour. Hey? I think another 30 minutes I'll have it done. Sabretooth Apex Predator. I'm pretty happy with it. It's kind of watercolor, isn't he? Okay, I'm done. Nope. I'll be done. You're giving me the eyes. Plus, my lunch is upstairs. You're over there eating. My lunch is upstairs cold. Oh, you're doing it for me. Oh, that's very nice. All right. Thanks for joining us. Can we go back? Take two. Me. I fluctuated. Sam. Thanks for joining us today for some painting of Sabretooth, Apex Predator. Remember, check us out every Tuesday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, unless something's different. Every Tuesday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at Twitch for Atomic Mass Transmissions Live, and to check us out on Twitter and or Instagram for all the latest news, information, and announcements coming from Atomic Mass about all of our wonderful games. So until next time, we'll catch you later, and go be the hero you want to be. And now I sing the song because I screwed it up so much early on.